Just leave your room keys at the door. Happy Thursday, everyone. So on a recent podcast, former First Lady Michelle Obama complained about the time Ellen DeGeneres challenged her to a push-up contest. Michelle found it oddly uncomfortable since Ellen insisted on laying underneath her. Because she's a lesbian. Speaking of, Michelle also admitted on the podcast that she fights with her husband over the thermostat. She wants it at 70 degrees while he wants it up his butt. According to a new book, Joe Biden brought in famed director Steven Spielberg to help with his campaign. They called the operation Saving Diane Biden. According to the same book, Kamala Harris's campaign team held a fake cocktail party without alcohol so she could work on her social skills without a drink in her hand. But she showed them and brought her trusty beer helmet. Good for her. Don't let him change you, Kamala. While arguing about a deported illegal criminal, Eric Swalwell warned Kristi Noem that he has a detector, which he obviously hadn't purchased until after he banged that Chinese spy. Speaking of, according to a new report, Chinese spies have infiltrated Stanford University. This became very apparent when all the graduation gowns showed up neatly folded and pressed. Oscar-winning actress Halle Berry says she doesn't know if a woman should ever play James Bond. After all, women already have a license to kill. It's called a driver's license.
Gutfeld.
Yeah.
I don't want you to be alone.
Thank you. The first great white shark of the season was spotted off Montauk in New York. Officials warned swimmers to beware of the shark and warned sharks to beware of Joy Behar. And finally, did you see President Trump's visit to the Middle East? I know, holy cow. I haven't seen that many men in dresses since the WNBA draft. All right. What? That was a good little run there. All right. So did you hear egg prices have dropped big time? And not just eggs, but groceries overall. It's the biggest drop in 5 years, if you don't count Joe Biden's testicles. But you want to see how CNN reports it? Here's their headline. Quote, Trump's egg price fiction has suddenly become reality. Yeah, Trump's fiction, now reality. Meaning when Trump turns out to be right, it's only because reality caught up to his lies. In CNNese, that headline translates as, he may be right, but he's still evil. Next, they'll say egg prices have dropped, but that's bad for trans chickens. You know they're trans because they tuck their McNuggets. So remember the I word, inflation? Yeah, neither does the media, because it no longer works for them. And what about the stock market? The media had investors stepping out on a ledge, and not just to drop a water balloon on the homeless guy below. Tariffs were supposed to cause such an economic collapse that it convinced me to stop paying my riders. And what of the assertion that Trump would be a laughingstock on the global stage? Have you seen what's going on in the Middle East? They're giving him jets as a housewarming gift. Oh, Biden wasn't even worth a barf bag and an extra bag of Sun Chips. You know, it's weird how we're always right and the media's always wrong. If this were a marriage, they'd be the husband. But, yeah. But Americans are sick of it. A recent poll found that 49% of voters think media bias is getting worse, compared to just 11% who see it getting better. Meanwhile, 44% of voters agree with this statement. No matter how much you hate the media, it's not enough. You know, I have that same feeling, but it's for sharing an elevator with Brit Hume after he's had his sardine smoothie. Don't knock it, Greg. It's It's good for the prostate.
We gotta get him.
Really good for the prostate. Put it down my throat, comes out, great. But that's not just losing trust, that's burning down an entire industry and peeing on the ashes. And this hatred is bipartisan, not just Trump bros and monster trucks playing Kid Rock at max volume. We're talking independents, centrists, even bored libs who keep getting let down because they're being led down the path of defeat. So it raises a new question. If we're tired of the media's lies, why aren't they tired of it too? I mean, I can understand a liar continuing to lie if it pays off. That's how I talk my way past the height restrictions on most roller coasters. But what if the filter you use keeps predicting the wrong outcome? Wouldn't you get tired of that? Wouldn't you go back to the drawing board when you see that it doesn't work anymore? It's like when I realized I can't keep firing my secretaries when they won't date me. Again, it's one thing to make millions selling swampland in Florida, but it's another thing to try to sell swampland, and it's you who ends up in the moss and the mud. The grift isn't just not working out on us, it's not working for them either. And surely by now the media and Dems have heard enough of the criticism. They're out of ideas, they're too woke, too disconnected from voters. But it's clear they still ignore it, because they haven't changed. But what they can't ignore is that the filter they're using to perceive reality predicts nothing except defeat and misery. Think of the mindset that led them to embrace the Maryland dad, that led them to think men could play in women's sports, that led them to think this corpse was conscious, or this clown could win. Their mindset led them to think parents would accept tampons in boys' bathrooms and drag queens in school libraries. I could go on, but then I would be late for my pole dancing class. Thank you. Reduces stress. I mean, imagine if you were a gambler and you had this system that picked horses, but every single time you lost. Wouldn't you dump your betting strategy? Or at the very least, pick up a healthier habit like meth? When your frame of reference leads to defeat at every turn, shouldn't you lose that frame of reference? You'd think they would, but so far they won't. When it comes to self-reflection, the media is less curious than Elton John around a stack of Playboys. Let's welcome tonight's guest. Audiences root for him to get off the stage. Writer and comedian Joe DeVito. She's got talking points and hollow points. Fox News contributor and editor for Town Hall, and Katie Pavlik. She may be cheerful, but she'll give you an earful. Outnumbered co-host Emmy Calpano. And the Statue of Liberty looks up to him. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, and former NWA world champion, Tyra. Joe, now that egg prices are dropping, will you finally afford breakfast or lunch or whatever you eat?
Yes, well, I'm so glad I had my eggs frozen a couple years ago. Seems like the right call. I'm tempted to get Jake Tapper's book just so I can read acting like it's a revelation for them to admit to the things we've been saying for 4 years.
Yes.
It didn't take investigative journalism to know that Joe Biden was a zucchini this whole time.
Yeah.
And it's just, they didn't just lie, they insulted us. They said, do you remember deep fakes?
Yes.
They said, oh, this wasn't what you were actually seeing. You weren't actually seeing a president who needed to be airlifted onto the plane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's crazy that they have squandered that. The news media's job is to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And when they stop doing that, they've got nothing left. You know, and they talked about some of the videos we mentioned. Did Steven Spielberg help with his 30-second promo that he did for his campaign that had 45 edits in it?
Yeah.
Where he was like, make my day, I'll do the day. Like, he was so clearly incompetent, and I just think, I don't know what they're going to do now.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do, because how do you come back from saying, I know we're supposed to tell the truth, but we lied this time, we lied this time. Joe Scarborough said, I wouldn't lie to you, and he cursed at you. And you have to look at him and say, is he an idiot? Is he a liar? I say, why choose?
Yeah.
Why put limits on the man? And he can be both.
Yes, he can be both. You know, Katie, the thing that gets me is, like, we can give all this constructive criticism to the media. They're not going to take it. So why don't they just look at the outcomes from their filter? If you wake up every morning expecting like a Trump failure and it's not there, there's something wrong with your filter. Maybe you should change the filter.
Well, first, Greg, I'm glad to see that you have a new hobby. I was very concerned that you don't have enough to do. So I'm glad pole dancing is now taking up some of your time.
Yeah.
That's a great question. And it's because they are insulated still. They are not willing to actually get out and learn and take some responsibility. And they're so narcissistic that they're not willing to, say that they were wrong, because now there's money to be made. So the same people who were yelling at Lara Trump in the 2020 election that Joe Biden just had a stutter, there wasn't an incompetence issue there. And then now you fast forward 5 years, and now there's money to be made on a shameless book.
Yeah.
And it's because they all do this for each other. They scratch each other's back, and they are in this isolationist bubble where they really can't come to the terms of just admitting they were wrong. And so this has diminishing returns, right? At some point, the circle becomes smaller because some people will leave, and they'll have to find something else to do. But they're just not willing to admit it, and they're around all the same people with no differing ideology all of the time. So that's why it continues.
Yeah, you know what, Emily? You're a very happy person. You're very bubbly. You light up a room like an arsonist. So I'm stuck on this, the way they view things and how it's always wrong. That has to correlate with the fact that all of these Democrats look so miserable. Imagine getting up and your arch nemesis is always winning, and you have to wake up like a competing cheerleader. It's like always besting you, and you're like, I hate this person. And every day that person wins. Isn't it time for you to say, okay, I gotta let this go?
Well, the graceful person would. The after-school special main character in me would say it only ends with death. Yeah, look, Katie's absolutely right. It's the insular nature, and I think what you're describing, it's so baked in, it's literally impossible for them to extricate themselves from it. It's like learning that someone's, behavior, their depression, it was a chemical imbalance.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing they could do to actually get over it, to click out of the emperor's new clothes. And the fact that in this machine of media, that this person goes to the producer and says, I'm gonna phrase the headline this way, and then they say, oh yeah, sure, it's signed off on by 1 million people. There is zero common sense, there's zero auditing happening that's from an outside source. 49%, as you said, of people thinking that the media is dying, right? That they hate it. It reminds me of the Wicked Witch dying slowly, that we are watching it. We're watching it in real time, but what happens next, right? We're seeing the rise of the independent journalists, people who actually ask questions and podcasts and the like, but there is still this industry. And so I don't know where it all goes, but I think it's up to the advertising dollars and it's up to the network heads to shut that down.
Cyrus. I think this Biden stuff is big, and it's going to get bigger. And the media, I think, is looking at it and going like, where are we going to end up? They're terrified.
No, the media is like a husband who's been caught cheating, and he has a girlfriend and a wife on the side.
And a wife?
On the side, yeah. And he got
2 wives.
he got caught.
He's got a girlfriend and a wife.
Don't correct me, Gutfeld. He's got a girlfriend and a wife on the side.
Okay.
I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay.
They both found out.
Right.
Okay? But in his mind, one of them will come back. So he doesn't have to change anything.
Ah.
So the
That's
so the
good.
media isn't going to change because they still have somebody coming back to them.
Yes.
They're still in their bubble. When they tweet, they still get love from their little world. They're trying to get in front. What are they trying to do? And you pointed this out before anybody did, so I'll give you credit for this. They tried to point out physical things.
Yeah.
Oh, he was going to have to be in a wheelchair. And America's like, oh no. Ever heard of Governor Abbott?
Yeah.
He does a stand-up job in Texas.
Yeah.
So
It's true. Only the ablest would see that as an insult.
he does. He's always on his toes. The guy's good. But the point is, that they still are the criminal in the corner trying to find a way to wiggle out. They're trapped. They're in a corner, but the American people aren't putting enough pressure on them, and they're still getting the blessings of the people who cut their checks. Because if this was a moment of awakening, if they were like, hey, this cover up and we're going to clean it up, the first thing they would do was fire every person on TV who pushed that to the American people.
Right.
That would be the first thing to do. And if Jake Tapper then had any credibility, they would resign because they were a willing participant lying to the American people, trying to influence elections. They're still doing it. Even when Trump has a win, and I reading the horrible CNN article, it was like, well, at the time when he said eggs were coming down, they weren't down yet, so he lied, and then his lie turned into truth 48 hours later.
Yeah.
So he's still a liar. They're still doing that. They're still the one. It goes back to the cheating thing. You catch your wife cheating, and she's like, how dare you break into my phone?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of a person goes in my phone? You're sleeping with my brother. It's not about that. It's about trust. And you were in my phone. What gives you the right to be in my phone?
Yes.
You be doing too much.
I told you that story in confidence, Tyrus. All right.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.